So today is December 2nd, 2025, and as part of making fun of my religion and trying to deny me justice, since the police took my home in 2010 and killed Eric Garner, a black American that was supposed to help in 2014, and also the immigration arrested me wrongfully in 2000 when my mother brought me here. She had a green card, and there's a law that says you can't separate a parent and a child. Even Elan Gonzalez, he came here, his mother was dead, and even though as a Cuban he was entitled to a green card, the Clinton administration sent him back to his father because his father wanted him back in Cuba, and said Clinton administration said they have to obey the laws, the international law and local law that says you can't separate a parent and a child, and America signed the family unification law. And that was in 1999 when the Clinton administration returned Gonzalez back to his father against all the protests in Miami that his father was dangerous, but Clinton said there's no evidence he had abused Elan Gonzalez in the past, even though they say he was abusing Elan Gonzalez's mother, and said you just have to abide by the international law and local laws of America. A year later, I came here, I was a minor child, my mother had a green card, and the Clinton administration decided to arrest me in JFK and sent me back. And my lawyer, the judge was telling my lawyer to contact the Clinton administration to see, how they can resolve this. My lawyer said it's not interested in contacting them. So 9/11 happens. Soon afterwards, my case lasted 8 years in court before I finally got my green card. At that time, my mother ended up having a heart attack because even my mother tried to abandon me on the street, and she started framing me up as crazy. She and her daughters, because they thought that was the best way to just get rid of me, get me locked up in a mental ward, and move on with their life, So I had to suffer all these years. And now, in 2010, I finally got my green card in 2008. But in 2010, the police took my home on Staten Island. Eric Garner was helping me, and the police went and took him there. So I've been under FBI surveillance since my immigration case in 2000. And they say when you're under surveillance, like, all kinds of stuff happens. So I went to Trump's casino in 2011 to gamble because people told me, it's very easy to die on the street. I was in a shelter, but they used to bother me in the bathroom. They didn't obey the court order that when the police vacate you from a basement apartment, the city of New York has to put you in a special hotel that has no bathroom. So they put me and my mother in a general shelter, and we couldn't use the bathroom there. People would come and bother us because we had to share the bathroom and have diarrhea. So me and my mother were forced to leave. So I was on the street, and somebody told me, go to Atlantic City. They have hotels for like $20, and you can gamble in the casinos 24/7. To make the money to pay the hotel room. So I was in the Trump's Taj Mahal casino gambling, and they called the police on me for no reason. He said he doesn't like blacks. He believes blacks are bad for business. So I told the hotel I was going to sue Trump. In that 2011, as he was kicking me out of the hotel after I went to use the bathroom, I told him I'm a customer, I'm a registered customer. And I told them I want to cash the money I want. They told me no. And the police, I said, this is fraud. I said, I'm going to sue Trump, as they used the police to remove me. So I came back to New York from Atlantic City, and I told Eric Garner about it. So he told me he was going to help me with all my court cases. So I guess the FBI was listening and said, this Trump has a lot of friends in the FBI. Soon they went and took Eric Garner there. And soon, then somebody lured me to go and stand in front of Trump's house after they killed Eric Garner. Said they were handing out presents to homeless, Christmas present. So I went and stood in front of us. Soon Trump arrived in his SUV, tried to knock me over with his car. And people were screaming, that's Trump trying to knock you over with his car. And the gate to his mansion, Fifth Avenue mansion, open, and he entered. And soon after that, my mother said daughters are part of a gang. They were trying to kill her. I was going to a Nigerian church, and this guy was saying, my mother's going to die soon. It's a pastor, but it's a lawyer for the NYPD. And he was saying my mother's going to die soon of a heart attack. Some witch wants to kill her with a heart attack. She has to come back to New York. Pennsylvania is not safe for her. And he also told me, his name is Pastor Ike. He also said, my father, I should reconcile with my father, because before it's too late, I have to do it. Because I wasn't talking to my father because he abused me in Nigeria, and so I wasn't talking to him for for 14 years since I came to America from 2000 to 2014. And this NYPD lawyer works for the Corporation Council. He's a Nigerian. His name is Ike, I-K-E. He was like, I have to quickly reconcile with my father because something, there's no more time to waste. I said my mother also, she has to leave Pennsylvania, because she's gonna, some witch is gonna get her kid with heart attack. So I told my mother that the pastor that works for the NYPD is a lawyer for Corporation Council. You're saying that you're going to die of a heart attack. My mother said, yeah. She, her daughter's been poisoning her food with cartridge poison or something like that. She said that food is making her have bloody diarrhea and triggering heart attacks. And anytime she comes around this daughter, she starts falling sick. Anytime this daughter gives her food. So my mother said when she stays away in New York, she starts feeling better. So I told my mother to come to his church. My mother said no, because he also said he used to be a wizard. He used to be a wizard. So my mother was like, she doesn't want to deal with them. If he said he was a former wizard, So my mother said she's not sure what kind of power he has. So there's really power of God or wizardry power, And soon my mother said, my mother had to flee that Pittsburgh. She said that daughter kept poisoning her food. The other daughter, Flora, would put my mother in the back of the car and go and hit somebody's house. The ambulance was record. So my mother was saying, and that Flora, she was living with that Flora. She was married to a black American called Aide. So that black American would try to punch my mother. So my mother was saying, she didn't understand why adults were trying to kill her early, but she said they were jealous that me and my mother were suing the NYPD and for taking me and my mother's almost dying in New York. Our daughters have their own houses in Pennsylvania, so they never lived with us in New York. I said they were kind of jealous that, they are not part of the lawsuit, so they hope to kill my mother so that they can then claim, they have an inheritance share in the lawsuit, and be part of the lawsuit, and I thought that was really creepy. And soon enough, my mother had to flee Pennsylvania. Said the daughter kept poisoning her food blindly, so it would leave snow all over the floor whenever it snows, and so that my mother would trip and fall. I would just find a way to kill my mother early, or render her totally disabled so they can get control of the lawsuit money. They were hoping, because they saw that Eric Garner was helping me, and the police killed him, and the police paid his family $5 million. So in 2015, my mother finally fled and was in a hospital, Bellevue, in May 13, 2015 rather. And she said soon enough, like 3 days later, the daughter showed up in the hospital. And my mother didn't even tell me what hospital she's in. She didn't tell any of our daughters what hospital she's in. And she was in shock. Who told our daughters? So I guess our daughters are part of a narcotic gang. And sometimes when you're using drugs or selling drugs, sometimes the FBI may use you as a confidential informant to set up other people. And so when they're using these criminals, drug users or drug dealers as confidential informant, they get access to the FBI surveillance and they use that to conduct their own crime and further their own criminality. So I guess from my mother talking to me on the phone, the FBI computer or surveillance was able to pick up where she was at and where I was at, because we were both using cell phone to talk to each other. So our address just showed up at the hospital where my mother was at. So my mother was like, it's a violation of privacy laws, because my mother used to work as a nursing assistant. She was like, she didn't know how those girls got the address of the hospital, because my mother never told them the address. And she said they started, as soon as they barged into the hospital, they started trolling my mother, trying to make my mother sicker, because my mother had high blood pressure. So they were trolling my mother, trying to make my mother sicker. And they went and lied on her that she's crazy, the doctor should lock her up, just to, increase her susceptibility to having a heart attack, because she has a high blood pressure. So they framed my mother up as crazy and locked her up in the mental ward. So since then, my mother's daughter's gang, they work with the NYPD to harass me everywhere. If I'm using the bathroom, they would attack me in the bathroom, trying to beat me up. If I use the bathroom on Chambers Street, they would attack me. If I use the bathroom here, they would insult me. There was a day I was in the bathroom on Mother's Day this year, and and a gang member came to the bathroom. He said, somebody pee all over the bathroom, and there was no pee all over the bathroom. It's like these bitches like to pee all over the place. So I was like, can you tone down your language, And the person was not called the police on me, So my mother used to hang around here before she died, and she used to have incontinence, so she used to have to wear diapers, So some police officers came here on Mother's Day, my Mother's Day, and they were doing their hand like a expanded vagina while talking to me. And they told me, get out of there, don't come here anymore. And they didn't really tell me, don't call anymore. It's like, we're kicking out of the bathroom. I'm like, somebody else started a fight. I was in the bathroom and somebody else came. I said, on my way to the bathroom also, an MTA worker, it was a Saturday morning, told me, you're not a real woman, don't go into the bathroom, and was doing like this to me, an Indian guy. At that time I was supporting my daddy to run for mayor. So, I was like, and they were provoking me that day, and they just wanted to kill me in the bathroom on Mother's Day. I guess to send a message to Trump, that issued an award, large money to my mother's daughters for the immigration problems I had, you know. And around that time also Mother's Day also, Alvin Bragg showed up in a park, Chambers Street and Greenwich Park. The black American workers always called the police on me. And Alvin Bragg showed up in front of that park around Mother's Day. So I was taking circuit, please talk to me. You know, I've been reaching out to your office, I'm a victim of hate crime. My mother was and ignored me and I was hugging his fellow black Americans. So I was baffled, like, why is Alvin Bragg a matter prosecutor acting this weird? You know, then his police security told me, stop bothering him, you know, go away. I'm like, I'm not bothering him, I'm just trying to tell him I'm a victim of hate crime. So apparently this Alvin Bragg was trying to set up to be killed. At that time, they said Trump was trying to get him and Lolita James arrested, you know, around Mother's Day, you know. So I guess this Alvin Bragg came to an area where I normally get angered by black Americans to get me angry so that the police can kill me with a gun and then use me as a bargaining chip that, okay, this person is trying to get you arrested, you Trump, we got this person killed. Could you back off Lolita James? Could you back off also Alvin Bragg? So they're using me for these Democrats and Republicans are using me as an immigrant that they can kill and, you know, and even share my mother's daughters. Because if I die right now, under American law, my mother's daughters will inherit my money because I'm a gay. I was born a man, I'm not a woman. I don't have any child, I'm not married. A lot of us gays, we don't really get married, we don't really have children. So they say, you know, they'll just give your property to your extended family member. You know. So I was listening to the radio today as I was coming. I think they don't want me to make my court appearance. You know, they said Trump is friends with the owner of ABC Radio. I was listening on my cell phone because my radio's not even working. For some reason, the radio went off. You know, if you try, you know, the voice went off. I have an earphone I normally use to listen, and for some reason the radio went off. I don't know if God is the one that's trying to disconnect me from these people, because they always, you know, use that ABC radio to, you know, try to incite panic in me. They'll say, you know, this immigrant, Ice baby. There's one black American that works for WBC Radio. His name is Dominic Carter. And last year was boasted. Say, no, he said, Ice baby. Say, as Trump was, you know, say when Trump becomes president, you know, all you immigrants will be gone. So apparently, they want to kill me, and then claim, you know, I had adopted so many black American children, and how the black American children inherit my wealth. They say in American law, you can adopt children informally, and the real parents of the child can say, you know, when you were alive, you know, sometimes people will come to me and send their children to me to give me $1 and begging for money. And the children will be calling me mommy. I said, I'm not your mommy, don't call me mommy. I said, keep your money. You know, it's under American law, you can claim somebody has adopted your child informally, and if the person dies, the court will formalize the adoption. They said the court always leans over backwards in the interest of a child. So there's also a law in America called parentage by estoppel that asks the court to look into what is the best interest of a child. So if you leave a pile of money around when you die, and you don't have any child, and somebody comes and claims you are trying to adopt a child, the court would formalize the adoption in your absence. They say death people say no tell, so you can't really refute anything if once you're already dead. And they said they'll give the money to the so-called adopted child, and the real parents will get to control the child and the money. So this black American radio host on ABC Radio, he was saying, Ice baby, Ice, you immigrants, you're gone. You know, you're really going to feel it when Trump. And this Trump also was saying is when he becomes president, he's going to drill and drill and drill. And I contacted the judge handling his case for fraud. You know, I think the name of the judge is Martian. I don't really know. You know, I said, please, you have to sentence Trump to prison, because if he doesn't go to prison, I as a Nigerian, you know, I criticize him a lot. I say if he comes back as president, I may get killed. So I sent a letter to the judge this year. I said, please sentence this Trump to prison. He's been found guilty of like 40 felony charges, and the judge ignored me and said they're not going to sentence him to prison. And right now, the police are arresting me everywhere. I was using the bathroom on Chambers Street. The police came to drag me out. You know, so I guess they're trying to kill me for sex trafficking type thing. Even they said Epstein before he died said Trump is the worst sex trafficker, but he doesn't know why the police and the FBI has never arrested him. He doesn't know what kind of special connection he has. They said that there are people like that in American society. They are the untouchables. They have a special connection with the police and the FBI. They say even some of the rappers. Say some of these rappers, people have been suspecting this Jim Jones Even people have been saying this guy, what's his name? Jay-Z. They say if you know some of these rappers that rap about crime and they don't go to prison ever, they say, they are special asset to the law enforcement, allegedly, so that's why they don't go to prison. And I've been seeing this Jim Jones come around me, and he also seems to talk about me on his Instagram. And then, I'm getting drowned by Spanish-looking people, like black Spanish. They'll try to beat me up on the train, try to set me up with a fight. So I was using the bathroom. They used to bring Spanish people into the Chamber Street bathroom to say, they were making fun of me, saying your doo-doo smells. Get the fuck out of here. Your doo-doo smells. I'm like, I'm in the bathroom, stop sexual harassing me. This is a hate crime. And that Spanish woman told me some days ago, saying, I would love to go to prison for hating on you, motherfucker. I said, my mother is there. Stop saying bad things about my mother. And I said, your mother probably died trying to escape you. And my mother, when she was alive, when I had an immigration case, she used to call the police to lock me up in a mental ward. And I had to tell the hospital on Staten Island, St. Vincent Medical Center, that and when they saw I wasn't crazy when I get to the hospital, and I told them my mother's just framing me up so that she can abandon me because I have an immigration case and she's tired of. She brought me here from Nigeria and said she didn't acquire the right visa to bring me here. She had a green card. I said she's just trying to dump me in the psych ward so she can move on with her life, so she doesn't have to pay for my housing and feeding. And I said because right now I'm not allowed to work and stuff. So the hospital, told her, do not ever call the police to lie on this kid again, otherwise we're going to have the police arrest you. And finally the police arrested me in 2019, framed me up as crazy. A Turkish guy came to slap me in my head. Like, while I was begging for money on Baby Jack from her, anytime I'm begging for money like that, because I always use the money to go pay my phone, they would send me to distract me. So I was like, why is this Turkish guy slapping me in my head on July 20th, 2019? And soon the police came and arrested me, dropped in the psych ward. I went into my bag, removed my green card. Then I found out that Eric Adams was being bribed by the Turkish government around that time. They said they wanted him to give them access to the U.S. government. So Eric Adams is like jealous of me because Eric Garner is his childhood friend, and he knows that Eric Garner was killed for trying to help him. So some black Americans are very competitive with Africans. They want us to suffer the same thing they suffer from slavery. And some black Americans also told me around that time that we're going to deny you Africans justice. This black American used to follow me around, show me his penis, always follow me around. So I thought maybe he liked me or something. I tried to ignore him. Then one day I was eating on Fulton and Franklin. I came with some bunch of other black Americans, and he was saying, these Africans, we're going to start killing them. They're not going to be allowed here, like South Africa is killing them also, And soon after that, I saw him again following me on Prospect Park, where I normally use it. So I said, stop following me. I heard what you said that day, that you're going to be killing Africans with your gang, and he chased me away. He was like, I'm going to, so we're soon going to hurt you. You just watch. And I was recording him. And then when I tried to use the bathroom on July 20, 2019, the gang member came into the bathroom with me and was menacing me in the bathroom, using a smoke bomb to scare me at the Prospect Park Q train bathroom. So I recorded it and I ran away from the bathroom. And I ended up at J Street train station on the outline. And an MTA worker came and told me, you're done today. I was like, okay, what is going on? I said, a gang member attacked me in the bathroom. And then an MTA worker told me, I'm done today. I'm like, what's going on? By nighttime, a Turkish guy came and slapped me on my head on July 20, 2019 on Berry and 4th Avenue. So I was telling the guy, look, I've been getting jumped all day. Could you stop harassing me? And the police camera was recording, and the police arrived. They said, we heard you were fighting. I said, I wasn't fighting. A guy slapped me on my head, and I told him to stop doing that. I said, I've been getting arrested. As I was talking to the police, knocked me down and choked me and locked me up in the psych ward. I stole my green card, so I can't go back to work. And they arrested me in 2019 wrongfully, locked me in the psych ward. And they came into the bathroom, somebody said that I stole something. I was like, how long are you going to keep making false accusations against me? So we're going to lock you up in the psych ward. I said, you can't do that. You already did that in the past. I said, it's against the law. Now they changed the protocol that you have to have a nurse evaluate somebody. You can't just, lock somebody up in the psych ward. I said, okay, then we're going to claim when we came to investigate you, whether you have stolen a cell phone or not. You kept talking and talking and talking, and that's obstruction of justice. I said, that's a lie. I said, so I'm supposed to go to court today. It's at 314 West 54th Street. My camera is not so clear. Okay, 314 West 54th Street at 9 a.m. December 2nd, 2025. As I'm making my way, there's going to be snowing with all my bags, but I have no choice. I was listening to WBC radio on my phone, and the guy was threatening. A guy called what's his name? Rosenberg? No. He's a Jewish American. It's on the radio from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday. I was saying, you know, the ambulance may get caught, you know. So I don't know if they plan to call me crazy when I arrive in the court, because the FBI, they also work in that radio station. They said since Curtis Lewer used to work for ABC Radio, and they said some Italian mafia he was talking about shoot him allegedly. So they said they now have the FBI permanent station in that station, and they said Kasimatidis is friends with Trump. So I guess the FBI, anytime I'm listening, the FBI can tell through the surveillance on me, and they'll be issuing all kinds of threats. So this guy was saying, the ambulance may get caught, he doesn't feel well at all. So anytime I'm listening, they'll be using threats. I don't know if they plan to arrest me at the courthouse again and claim I'm crazy for showing up to my court, but they misspell my name, my last name, they make it my first name. This is what Babatunde is my first name, they made it my first name. Babatunde is my first name, they made it my last, and I told the police officer, they said it doesn't matter. And it was so good, they were Spanish police officers. They told me they're originally from Venezuela, but they speak with American accents, and I don't know if they're born here or not, and they gave me a wrong address as my home address. I told them that's not my address, I don't live in Queens, I'm homeless. They say it doesn't matter. And they put the wrong phone number. My real phone number is 9297375205. So please donate to my Cash App NYC Homeless. I'm trying to hire a lawyer to really fight this in court. I just want to show up today in court, so I can get housing. Please donate to my Cash App. I'm not looking for any marriage. I'm not looking for any childbirth. I just want to hire a lawyer. So so please donate to my Cash App NYC Homeless. I'm looking for non-conditional charity donations only. And also I do beg for money on the street. Somebody's supposed to give me $1 here, $1 there. I do ask if you can spare $1. So if you want to donate money to me on the street, I'm not looking for anyone to stalk me. Just non-conditional charity donation only. I'm not looking to be part of any cult. I'm not looking for any secret friendship. I don't want friendship with anybody. Just donations for me to get housing and fight the case in court and get these people arrested. And this Trump administration for them to be investigated and held accountable in the court of law. So I'm not looking for any kind of secret meeting and stuff. So please donate to my Cash App NYC Homeless. Like I said, whether you donate to my Cash App or give me money in person, it's not conditional charity donation. They don't let me use the bathroom. And they said, these are the days of slavery. If they keep harassing you like that, they can just kill you one day, and which is what they were trying to do. And I said dead people tell no tale. So they don't let me use the bathroom. The bathroom here, I consider the MTA president is a black American. I see him around this area a lot. Christo Dimitris. He wouldn't want to talk to me. I said, can you give me your email? And when he gives me his email, he wouldn't respond to my email, and he promised to respond. So I've sent him an email like 2 or 3 times already. I'm like, can you please, I'm being harassed in your subway service. Even your MTA boss, CEO Jano Liba said they're going to be using all kinds of tricks to arrest homeless wrongfully. Yeah, and they said to frustrate homeless. They said a black American was also suspiciously killed. His name is Jordan Neely. He said he was also complaining that since he's been homeless last year, said his life has become more terrible. I doesn't understand why he's expressing a lot of hostility. While he was talking, he said a white guy snuck behind him and took him there. And also, people always try to incite violence against me. Since this Jano Liva has been saying they are introducing all kinds of methods to remove the homeless forcefully from the subway and commit them in the psych ward. So even if you're not crazy before, they're inciting violence and encouraging gangs like my mother's daughter's gang to come on the subway and just drive you crazy. They say, anybody can become crazy if you harass them long enough. And then they say, in this country, even once they start calling you crazy, it's an excuse to kill you, and get away with it. They're preparing their own defense to kill you and get away with it. Michael Jackson's father said that. So when they were calling his son Michael Jackson, knew one day they were going to kill him. And in 2019, when his son was dead, he came on WBLS. I was saying the same thing that my mother used to say, that once they start calling you crazy in this country, they're planning to kill you. So at that time, I was on IBS surveillance. I was wondering, why is Michael Jackson's father saying the same thing my mother always saying? I didn't really know everything. And it seems the FBI, some of the rogues are snitching to the Hollywood stars about me and my mother. Because my mother used to say I look like Michael Jackson a lot. And, so she used to tell me, I looked like Michael Jackson as a child. And I used to write letters to Michael Jackson, write him songs from Nigeria. He used to send it back to me in Nigeria. Said, return back to sender. The cassette tape I was sent to him. of writing. People used to tell me my song was like of like American standard song that I would record as a child. I love it, I'm a child. You know. So I guess some of them were trying to kill me and claim I came to America to become Michael Jackson and I died in the process, and maybe they've already raided my home in Nigeria and found the music I recorded as a child for Michael Jackson, and they want to now release it, but they feel they got to kill me first. You know, to make the song bigger or whatever. So this is savagery. Nobody should, do any movie behind my back. I told the immigration in 2000 when they arrested me, when they asked me if I have any witness of my father abusing me in Nigeria, I said, I don't have any witness because I don't really talk to people. So even they asked me if I was telling my mother's daughters who were living in America about the abuse, and so I said no. I said I'm introvert. I don't really talk to people about my life story. So my immigration file my immigration file number is A779546. I'm introvert. I don't really talk to people, so nobody would know how to tell my story but me. So if I'm not alive, I'm not able to participate in any movie from beginning to end. No movie should be made about me. Because I'm very glad about my image, and I wouldn't want anybody to just, say anything about me. I want to be in control of my image, so and under the law, you have to respect somebody's wish when they're alive, even after they die. Otherwise, it's quite an abuse of the court. So in case I die or I'm killed, no family member or friend should inherit anything from my state or administer my state. Only civil rights activists like me should administer my state, provided such civil rights activists have not denied me help in the past, and it should get justice for me and my late mother and donate the rest of my assets into charitable contribution to those sovereigns in Ethiopia, like my late mother, and those who've been deported by Trump should prioritize for assistance for my charity. So this was going on.